The reality is that on a homestead, eventually you're going to lose an animal. If you've been homesteading for any certain amount of time, it happens. Every time when we let new chicks out, somebody undoubtedly slips through the fence and gets out.
And that is one of our little Aisha Browns.
Look at those feathers. There is a very raw and real side to homesteading that a lot of people are not going to show you on YouTube. They're not going to tell you about. They're not going to write it in a blog. And these are fine. It's personal preference. You are never required to show someone a part of your journey that you don't want to show them. But a lot of it stems from embarrassment or a sense of failure. And it's just not true. And I feel like if we were to talk about it more, that we would all stop beating ourselves up about it. But here's also a reality that you need to consider when you're considering homesteading and getting into livestock. So when we bought our chicks a couple weeks ago now, I'm filming this a couple weeks later, I knew when I got them, I knew. Always go with your instinct. We got them from Rural King. This is not their fault at all. But they had literally just arrived. They had just put them into the bins, got them set up with feed and water. They had just arrived. I typically don't buy chicks when they have just arrived, and here's why. The shipping process of shipping chicks is extremely hard and stressful on a chick. You have to consider chicks are with their moms nonstop for the first week of their life. And you're talking about the chick hatching, drying off, getting thrown down a conveyor belt in some ways, and then getting stuffed into a box with other chicks. It really doesn't have time to have a good first day of life. And that's the unfortunate side of buying from a large hatchery or a feed store. But it's common. It's normal. It's what they do. It's how they have their business. But the shipping process can be stressful on a chick. It can be stressful for any animal. What happens is some chicks just were never strong enough to begin with. Other chicks go into this state of shock. And it's very hard to bring any kind of animal back from a state of shock. Warmth is key on bringing animals back from a state of shock. And so I was looking through the bins and she was telling me, well, we just got this shipment. And I thought, okay, well, I'm here. I'm like 40 minutes away from Rural King. I really don't want to come back tomorrow, And so I'll get them now. And so as I was looking around the bins, I noticed there were little chicks here and there that were either sitting in the corner, kind of to themselves, or they had already passed, which is normal again when you go into a feed store if they haven't cleaned it out. But I chose chicks that I thought would be the strongest, but there were so many chicks, it was really hard to tell. It was very hard to tell. So we got them home. They were very alert. And it's probably because they had just been shipped. They had just gotten back into a new box and come home with us. So we put them in our outdoor brooder, and they did okay the first day. Well, they had, I guess it was the second day, one of our Buff Orpington chicks passed away. Completely normal. We go through normal times with chicks, where we've had lots of batches where we didn't lose any, and normally those are the batches that we hatch ourselves. Our chickens, we breed them for self-sustainability and resistance and resilience. And so a lot of our chickens have been hatched in the wintertime, or early spring when it's been cold outside, and they've been in our outdoor brooder, and so they've naturally adapted to that. They've naturally adapted that to and passed it on genetically to their offspring. But when you add the stress of chicks on top of, you know, constant movement, constant changing, adding them in, it can be stressful. Even when you just get hatchery chicks, it's very common to lose a chick or two. It is. It's very common. It can come from stress. It can come from just being weak in general. Because let's face it, a lot of hatcheries don't breed for resilience, for health. That's the one thing that lacks in a lot of these large hatcheries, is the health aspect of it. I'm never going to tell you to buy from a hatchery if you're planning on breeding a certain breed to standard and bettering that breed. I'm going to tell you to buy from a quality chicken breeder. But we all get chicks from hatcheries from time to time. And so it can come from them needing extra TLC, which is, I think it was a combination of all of this for the chicks that we got. So we lost a total of 3 chicks. We lost 2 of the Buff Orpingtons, and we lost 1 of the Cuckoo Morans. So we lost 3 of those chicks. The Cuckoo Moran, the Buff Orpington, we lost the second day we had it. Nothing wrong with it. No sign of anything wrong with it. Just died. The Cuckoo Moran, we brought him inside because he was, on the second day, he was showing those signs of stress. He was showing those signs of, you know, finally resting, but it had just taken such a toll on his body to be shipped. And we lost him the day after that. So we lost him on the third day. Now, the second Buff Orpington, here's what I think happened. The Buff Orpingtons were very small. They were a lot smaller than the Cuckoo Morans and any other chick that we had in there with them. And in my experience with Buff Orpingtons, they're typically the same size, if not bigger than some of those breeds. And so I'm not sure if something happened genetically with that batch, or if they were packaged too tightly when they were shipped from the hatchery or the farm that they came from. I don't know what happened, but something happened, because the final buff chick that we have out there is thriving. She's absolutely thriving. But it took her a while to start thriving. We lost the second buff chick, not the third one. The third one's still alive and thriving, over the weekend. And what was happening is with her, it was a constant issue of intestinal issue. It is not cocky. It is not anything to do with our other chicks, because all of our other chicks are thriving. All of the Isa Browns are thriving. All the chicks we hatched are thriving. All of the other chicks are thriving. But these Buff O's had something. Something was going on. I don't know if it was the food supplement that they added in the box of shipping. I don't know what happened. But the moral of the story is, it happens, guys. Death on a homestead happens, whether it's these chicks. As you go into springtime, if you're getting chicks, the best you can do is offer them a warm place to stay, good food. We use unmedicated organic food. I do not add Corid or Solmit or anything like that to their water. I add probiotics. Sometimes I'll add electrolytes, and I add apple cider organic with the mother apple cider vinegar. And then at times I will add oregano. We do not treat chemically on our homestead. Haven't done it in 6 years, and we've been fine. But I say all this because it is normal. And let's take it a step further. Let's talk about death and other animals. The reality is that on a homestead, eventually you're going to lose an animal. If you've been homesteading for any certain amount of time, it happens. It happens because it's normal. And I think what happens is we get so detached, not only from our food system, but from everyday cycle of life. You know, probably once or twice a year, we lose chickens to a hawk or an eagle. We have eagles here. They're constantly saying we don't have predators. Well, everyone has predators, but maybe you're just in an area that has high traffic, or maybe you're living in an area that's highly populated. That's probably why you're not seeing a lot of predators. If you have any open amount of space, you have hawks and maybe eagles. We have eagles because we live right on the riverside. You know, you have predators. Here, we have a lot of predators because we're in the mountains. We have bear. We have bobcat that we've seen. We have, and I know we have cougars, but they're a little more stealthy. I believe that we lost our duck flock to cougars this past year, to a cougar this past year. That's another story for another day, but we never saw it, but it's a very eerie story. We have had encounters with coyotes and different things, fox, different things going on. It is a constant predator issue because of where we live. And so when you see people say, well, we've never lost an animal to a predator, that could very well be true, but it might not be true for you in your area. If you live in a more densely predator populated area, you're going to have to up your game on predator control. But you're also going to have to realize that it's the natural cycle of life. We typically don't kill a lot of our predators, and I'm not telling you it's wrong, because we would if we had to. We step up our game on building our fencing and our coops and our hutches like Fort Knox first. We have a raccoon out here. This mama raccoon has lived here for over 6 years. In that 6-year time period, she has probably gotten 3 of my chickens in the past 6 years. My philosophy on homesteading is that if she worked that hard to get to those chickens, then she deserved them. And I know that that's not common, but 3 chickens in 6 years, I'm okay with that because I don't treat my chickens like pets. Not all of them. There are some of them I do. My chickens don't have names. I have maybe 3 chickens that have names, and that's only because they've done something for us. One was our first chicken we got. One is our broody mama, and one is just flighty as anything, and so we decided to name her. Our roosters always have a name. Typically, it's a Dukes of Hazzard theme or a biblical theme. Right now, we have Behemoth, but we call him Bo. And it's not even Bohemoth, it's Behemoth, but we call him Bo. So we've had a Jesse, I don't think we've had a Luke. We've had an Enos, we've had a Roscoe, so we're still on the Dukes of Hazzard theme. But anyhow, it is inevitable. And so we are probably one of the rare homesteaders that say, okay, we're not going to kill the predator first. We're going to up our game on fencing, and we're going to up our game on predator proofing. And then if the predator is resilient, then we'll consider removing the predator, either transporting it somewhere, having a game and wildlife person come out, or just taking care of it ourselves. I know that's not the norm, but in my opinion, it should be your first line of defense, because if you believe in homesteading and you believe in homesteading naturally, then you have to consciously understand that that is a natural cycle in life. So we allow it, you know, unless the predator is extremely vicious, like a bear attack or something like that, or a bobcat, or something that's threatening us, or something that's killing off our animals, you know, nightly or every week. You know, no, we don't tolerate that. That's not something we tolerate. But once every 6 months or once every year, I'm okay with losing 1 chicken each year to a predator, because the ultimate reality is that the predator has to eat too. It's the life cycle. It's the cycle of life. So this is a reality on homesteading that I wanted to share with you, especially the chicks. I know a lot of you are getting chicks this spring, or you've already started getting them, or maybe you're getting them a couple weeks. It's normal. Do the best that you can, but don't beat yourself up if your chicks, if you lose 1 or 2 chicks. It's normal. The stress of being shipped on a small animal like that, and the things that could happen unbeknownst to us and outside of our control, it happens. Some people are not going to lose any chicks. Other people are going to lose 2 or 3. Doesn't make you a bad homesteader. Doesn't make you a bad person. It's just a natural cycle in life. So I wanted to share that with you today so I could encourage you to not beat yourself up about it, because it happens. Death on a homestead is natural. It's very, very natural. What's not natural is when you see people, or when you yourself, you're constantly every week a chicken is sick or a chicken is hurt, or you have something happening every single week or every couple weeks. That's not natural. That's something that is either it could be parasitic, could be bad animal husbandry skills. We see that more often than not, or it could be predator. Whatever it is, it's not normal. You shouldn't have to be bringing a chicken inside every day, every week. You shouldn't have to be mending your pig, if you've got predator attacks and claw marks. Those are definitely things that have to be addressed, especially with the predator, especially with animal husbandry, and especially with illness on a homestead, especially parasitic illness that needs to be eradicated from your property. And so those are obviously things that are a different story for a different day, that boils down to different things. But in simple, everyday, I lost a chick, or I lost 2 to 3 chicks in this batch of hatchery birds, or I had 1 hawk attack and I lost 1 chicken, or I lost 1 chicken every 6 months. Those things are normal. So I just want to encourage you, don't beat yourself up about it. It's okay. You'll be okay. I hope that this helped you. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope that it's been some kind of encouragement to you as you start your homestead journey, or as you're on your homestead journey. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have not already subscribed, I ask that you do. Also, if you subscribe and you want to get alerts and notifications that we've posted a new video, click the little bell button beside our name, and that'll actually notify you that we've posted a new video or that we've gone live. So that's it for me today. Hope you guys have a great day, and happy homesteading.